Parental Unplugged.
Well, it starts in the home. You know,
Yeah.
the father's not in the home. The boy will
Yeah.
find the father in the streets.
Parental Unplugged, I'm looking for love. We come from them broken homes. Single mama, no father involved. We need more fathers involved. I don't need applause for shit that I do. The shit that I do don't need your approval. The family, my crew. I die for the family. I run up the bag. These kids will come through. Parental Unplugged.
We're here in the B-Hey Parental Unplugged podcast, and I'm your host, B-How. You know why we here to chop it up. But before we chop it up, I definitely got to do this before we get started. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Clarity Water, one of the most refreshing, hydrating waters with a 9.5 pH level. Also, Backstock Resale, we stock it and won't break your pockets. And lastly, my wonderful, amazing production team, 7 Nation Films. All right, before we get started, I always like to give a quick rundown of Parental Unplugged podcast and like to highlight the structure and the transparency of the podcast. And you know, it pretty much is basically a podcast that's highlighting the parenting from a father's perspective. You know, not just fathers, but parents in general. And you know, I like to be transparent and be very educational about what we're doing here on a podcast. And as I go further into this, I want to go ahead and introduce the young man that's coming in today to bless us with his presence and taking out some time out of his day to come on to the podcast and chop it up. This man is a hardworking Cleveland native, a leader, an educator, family member, a husband, and most of all, he's a father. Mr. Vincent Skip McGill. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, appreciate it. Again, I want to apologize. We usually try to start at a specific time, but, you know, we was running a little late, and you was very cool and collected about the situation. So I gave a quick intro from what I know. Can you give the people and the followers, the people that's, you know, tuning in, a little bit more information about yourself?
Yeah, like you said, Cleveland native, been here my whole life. Colorado High School graduate, go Railroaders. Yeah, like you said, just a father, one son, 18 years old, hardworking man, things like that. Just simple man, nice and easy, get along with everybody, like to be around people.
That's what's up. So I know that, I know that this month it has a significance to it, and I know you know, and for the ones that don't know, because I was one of them individuals that didn't know, that April is Autism Awareness Month. And
Yes, sir.
I know that you, like you said, you are a father of an 18-year-old, and he does have autism, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah. So that was one good reason that I was reaching out to get you on here to talk about that, to give the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the challenges of being a father, period, but then raising a child that has autism, which I know it has its daily challenges.
Yes.
So before I get into it, I want to read a quick, just a definition that I got from Google. Hopefully Google usually tends to be right. So autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. And with that, the problems associated with it is social communication, restrictive or repetitive behavior, learning and moving and attention issues that come with, having autism. As I dive into this episode and the questions I want to ask, my first one to you, what is autism and what does it look like to you?
So the first thing I would say is different. It's a spectrum. Autism looks different in every child, every adult, every, young kid, baby. So for me, autism is just understanding, just making sure that, you display that patience that you need, understanding and just, trying to figure out together. It's a learning process, right. And just trying to go through life and prepare your child, male, female, the best way you can.
Mm-hmm. So what type of challenges you would say that's that's associated with that as a father?
So not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You good, brother. You good. It's all good.
So I think I'm 38. So I had my son pretty young.
Okay.
20-year-old. So when you first get the diagnosis, you go through a stage of denial. Because his diagnosis was at 2 years old. So
right.
you're like, you don't want them to overdiagnose your child. You don't know where it's at. So you confused, you're trying to learn, you're Googling, you doing all the research that you can do. So get through that stage. Now the next stage is, what can I do to prepare?
Right.
What's next? So for us, it looked like go straight into therapy. Because when he was 2 years old, maybe one, sometimes we thought maybe he was deaf, because it just wasn't, it was things that he wasn't picking up on those milestones that you want to see. So therapy, we started therapy pretty early, had a big support system. Got him into therapy, still does speech therapy to this day.
Okay.
Got him to speech and occupational therapy. And just got those supports right away. So that's kind of how it started.
Okay. So with that process of you finding out and everything, was there any previous signs that you noticed, like, man, something may be wrong with my son, and or anything that showed like maybe we need to, like you said, eventually at the age of 2, you went to go find out, and then he was diagnosed with it,
First thing, pointing. I can remember, he used to point. Instead of saying I want something, he would point. It was the communication thing that you read. Right. That was the first thing that we kind of noticed. And again, especially, young kids, nothing wrong. He'll be all right. He sometimes he'll cry and whine. You like, he just got to toughen up. Especially you got a boy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I got a few of them.
Yeah. So you understand that. Yeah. So you're like, oh, he'll toughen up. It's just so. But then you got like, you know what? You got to see what's going on. You got to go to the professionals, understand, it's bigger than you. Don't be embarrassed, because a little bit of it is being embarrassed. I was actually going to have you touch base on that. Did you feel embarrassed or have that stigma of raising a... For sure. I would say, especially in my younger years, it was like, man, when you have a child, you think about everything that's going to be, I'm going to get them into sports. I can't wait till you start getting girls. I got them dressed like me. Especially when you find out as a boy, it's a junior. Well, he's a third, so I'm a junior. So, you thinking all those things, or how he's going to look, or what his mannerisms going to be. You're excited about all that. And then you get that diagnosis. You're like, whoa, your whole life just changed. So, yes, you embarrassed, because, you don't want people to label them. Right. I still deal with that today. You don't want him to be labeled. You want to be judged accordingly by his actions, and you don't want him labeled. Right.
And when you say labeled, meaning that?
Labeled a disability. Okay. Especially being a young man going through high school, kids can be mean. When I went to school, I was one that, I was pretty spoiled. I was the youngest in my family. So, I had things, clothes or cars, so you hang with a certain group of kids and you look at another group of kids. You may not pick on them if they got special needs, but you don't, you just kind of dismiss them. So being in that community now, I kind of understand the other side of the spectrum. So I just don't want, I just didn't want him to have to go through that, because as we go through this podcast and I explain his story, he's very, after all the therapy and things like that, he's very, very on a milder level. Like, he's getting better. So he has a social life.
Right.
So now, it's just trying to navigate that social life for him.
Okay. And how do you go about navigating that social life? Like, what is a daily routine for him? Like, what does he have going? What do you do daily with him to get his day going and get your day going?
So he's pretty self-efficient now.
Okay.
Being probably for the last 4 years, but he's an athlete. Right. So me growing up, that's how I met most of my friends. Probably most males we meet are friends. We go outside, we play sports, football, baseball, basketball. So the first thing I had to understand is he's not going to be like me on the sports side. He's not going to be an avid basketball player.
Right.
Because that hurt a little bit too. He's not going to be a basketball player, football player. He picked up swimming.
Wow.
Hell of a swimmer. So our day for us, especially high school years, we got practice at 6:00 a.m. We do 2-a-days. So he working out 6:00, go to school. National Honor Society student. Straight A's, probably got 3.8 now. I think he snuck a B in there. So we proud of him. And then after school, right back to practice. So we practicing 6, sometimes 7 days a week. We trying to push, which I don't know if he fully grasped it. I think he's starting to. So he also swims for the United States Paralympic team.
Okay.
So he's already made the team, but we trying to push for the Olympics this year in Paris.
Oh, okay. That's
So
gonna
yeah,
be dope.
yeah.
Man.
So
That's
yeah,
gonna be dope.
the United States will cover our costs. We trying to push for that, and things like that.
How let alone a child with autism, but a black child get into swimming because we don't swim.
We don't swim. I'm the only one there. I'm usually the only.
How did that even come about, man?
Well, everything with him came about from my support system.
That's what's up.
I'll sit here and lie if I say it was me. I work a very restrictive job, a lot of hours, demands a lot of my. Well, used to. I've changed and grown in the company, so I used to demand a lot of my free time.
Right.
My mother's great. His grandparents, my stepdad, pops. I was just calling them pop. They great. They whatever drop of a dime, they do it. I was lucky enough to find a wife. She's great. She's a godsend.
That's what's up.
She does anything for him. She loves him like he's our own. So just a major. My friends, even my friends, I'm around great fathers.
Okay.
That got kids, and they did a great job of not treating my son different.
Right.
We're gonna have a celebration here for prom and graduation in about 2 weeks. It's gonna be a celebration because a lot of people played into where he's at today.
That's what's up.
A lot of people played in that.
That's what's up, man. So with that, who would you say, or in reference to you being the man and father you are, who can you say will help guide you or help molded you in reference to, being a father, but being a father that's raising a child that has, a disability in a sense? Like what gave you that push, that motivation to be who you are today?
It's gonna sound crazy. Actually, my wife.
Okay.
And she didn't do it like, oh, you need to do this. It was not with his mother, of course.
Right.
So now I'm dating with a special needs child.
Okay,
right?
and if you don't mind me, what time frame is this going on?
This is early years. This is 2, 3. I mean, I wasn't with his mom when he was born.
Okay.
So me and her, we never was together since he's been alive.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So that was already a broken home. So now we got a broken home.
Right. Now you're young, raising a son.
Yeah.
Then the fact that he has autism, that's a whole challenge.
Yeah.
itself.
So it's a challenge itself. So
right.
So now I'm in a dating world, and most of the ladies I dated didn't have an issue, but it's my issue. Like, well, I gotta, I'm still dating, but I got this child that needs extra attention.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we going through that. So when I started dating my wife, she was a little bit more mature.
Got you.
It just kind of made me. I mean, really, it's gonna sound kind of corny, but really made me a better man, better father. She kind of just slowed me down a little bit.
Women do that though.
Yeah,
women do that
for sure.
The good ones do.
For sure.
The good ones,
for
yes,
sure,
sir.
For sure. I was doing good in life. I was working.
Yes,
really
sir.
Good job, making pretty good money for my age. So you fast. You out here fast. You living fast, and she kind of slowed me down a little bit. So
that's what's up.
Thank God for her.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So my next question for you: Do you believe that autism is rising, or the awareness level of it has? Because when I was a kid, and even now, like I said, I didn't even know much of it. People would say, "Oh, this person has autism" or whatever. I went to school with people that were in the class where they was off. You know what I'm saying? But you never really knew what it was. So, in your definition or your perspective, do you think autism is rising, or more or less the awareness of it is being more, has risen, for people to understand, that's autism, that's an autistic individual?
I think it's rising. I think the awareness is rising. I think we all grew up and we like, he's a little different. Maybe, because autism looks different.
It does.
So if my son was here, we wouldn't know he was autistic. I mean, he's built, he's solid. You wouldn't know that he's an autistic child. Sometimes they display he's shy. So we all know people that were shy or kind of quiet to themselves or think different, and it looks different. You got some that does repetitive things, or they motor skills ain't top notch. So it just looked different. So I think that the awareness has grown. It's not more of a. I think parents are not more as ashamed or embarrassed about it.
Okay.
If I was to say something, I would say, hey, if you know your child is something different from your child, get them checked out. And
Right.
the earlier you get them checked out and get them into those therapies, you never know. You do best for them, because the ideal is our children are going to outlive us.
Definitely.
Right? That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal for them to be here longer than us. And
Right.
a challenge I have with my mom, because my mom are tight.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge I have with her is she wants to baby them. So
that's grandmas and
yeah, especially one with a special need.
Yeah, definitely.
But I gotta tell her, he's still a man.
Yeah,
he's dating. He's into girls.
I was just gonna have you tap in.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
I'll let you go. I want to take it from the host. Yeah. So, but he has to be a man, because eventually he's gonna. I mean, he wants kids, so he's gonna have to raise a guy. You know.
Right.
Just learning on it, not being ignorant to it.
Right.
Doing my own research is that I'm always gonna be there. Checking his finances, making sure. But my goal is for him to live the most normalist life that he can, whatever that looks like.
I got you.
Whatever it looks like, I'm okay with it. But I don't want to handicap him.
Exactly. That's dope, because some people tend to probably do that in that situation. Again, because I don't have anybody in my family that's have any type of autism or any type of disability. Besides, I have one cousin he was born with cerebral palsy, and but I was just talking. It's funny. I was just talking to his mom the other day. She was like, "This boy got to get out of my house. He too grown and big to be. He got a job and everything. Yeah. He be eating up stuff, But yeah, so that's I think that's a plus, to make sure that at the end of the day you make sure that they live in as normal life as possible, just like anybody else. So with that, what is his social life like? What, besides the fact we know he swims,
yes,
and like friends and things of that nature? How does all that the struggle? Is there any struggles with that?
Absolutely struggles. Going through struggles now. So he's in his senior year.
Yeah.
And majority of his friends, if it's not my friends' sons that's close to his age, is his swim team.
Okay.
Or he runs track too.
Okay.
So it's his sports teams, and the struggle that we're going through now, we rounded down. He's like, what I'm gonna do with my friends?
Right.
Like, what I'm gonna do with my friends? And I'm like, well, you're gonna meet new friends.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the story, if we go back a little bit, when you talk about autism, they don't like change.
Oh, yeah.
Change is
See,
a big thing. Change is a big thing for them. They like a routine, which we all do.
Yeah,
we all struggle with change. New job, new position.
Mm-hmm.
We nervous, but they struggle a little bit more because they don't see the other side of it.
Right.
So he transferred, which so COVID 2020, he didn't go to high school. It's kind of virtual.
Okay.
Then 2021, he went to a different school. So he only been in his current school 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And he was sad then. He had his girlfriend at his old school.
Oh, he had a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Snap.
He had his girlfriend at his old school. So he's like, my girlfriend, where's she gonna do and this and that. Things that we all probably went through at some point.
I got my 16-year-old. He's actually on a date now.
Yeah.
So he should be coming home pretty soon. But yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I understand. So and you proud of him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't say certain things we gotta say with him that we can't say in front of his mom.
Exactly,
Things like that. So
yeah.
I understand. So we he's sad about that. I'm like, look, you're gonna meet new people.
Right.
You got a good personality.
Yeah.
You gonna meet people. You just gotta put yourself out there a little bit.
Right.
So he cried. Everybody worried.
Man.
You know what I mean? About him going to school. He miserable.
Yeah.
What you gonna figure out? Was just the thing was 2020. I caught COVID. Bad. And
Okay.
I don't smoke. I don't drink.
Right.
But I almost died.
Right.
So coming out of COVID, one thing my wife always joked about was he not gonna have no little girls in my house.
Right.
So when I say, she made me a better person, I'm like, you know what? I've been working for a while. She works. Let's go find us a house, a bigger house that can separate them just in case I'm not there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because my mom and them older, so I can't say, oh, well, if something happened to me, you're going to go to my mom. If something happened to me, you're going to go to my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's try to figure this out a little bit. So, we moved to a house, that has like an in-law suite for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that suite, it's equipped with everything. Kitchen.
Oh, that's dope.
Bathroom, living room, bedroom.
That's
And it's equipped with that to prepare him to move out. I want him to live that life.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not going to be 21.
Right.
23, 24.
Right.
He should be, if we continue to progress like we are,
right.
he should be able to live on his own. So with some help, make sure everything paid, but he should be able to live on his own.
Okay.
So we moved. So we got to change schools.
Mm-hmm.
Change the school, and he cried, but now he loves it. You know, he does all the social things. He going to the play. They pick him up. They out late. He kicking more than me.
Right. That's what's up, man.
And it's coming to an end. So now he's sad again. So now we in another. space.
So you're starting all over again.
Starting all over. And I'm just trying to remind him, like, remember, it was just like this 3 years ago.
Exactly.
You know, you're gonna meet people. You work. You still into sports. You're gonna meet people.
That's what's up, man. That's dope, man. That's what's up.
Dad
I'm trying to get my son can't even cook a pot of noodles on the stove, man. So
yes, he definitely can cook some noodles.
See that?
Yeah, he got the noodles down. I can't cook. Well, I can a little bit. I do it.
I throw my noodles in the microwave.
Yeah,
that's easy. So my next question for you, man. With all those challenges and you know, being at an early age, well, at a young age, you know, having your son, and you know, was there any fears at that time in your life? You know, and it's a two-part. I'm sorry, it's a two-part question. If there were any fears at that time, you know, being a dad, raising a child with autism, and if so, did you overcome any of those fears, or do you still have them today?
Those fears are still here.
Yeah.
Young black man, we understand. He get pulled over.
Yeah.
What is he gonna do?
Right.
I still have that fear is today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right now, he ready to drive. You know, cop pull him over. Again, it's not a stamp on his head to say, "Hey, I'm autistic."
Yeah.
Hey, I'm different. And we know I'm one of them.
Right.
You know, sometimes we impatient.
Right.
You know, you say, "Oh, I've been patient." You started a little behind.
Yeah.
I live with that.
Right.
So with my job, you know, I come across people every day that's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I've learned that, and sometimes people are not patient. So I live with that. That's the fear that once I matured and became a better man, I'm still growing every day. But once I matured and start understanding, now the fear happens. Like, well, you know, what if you know, he thinks he's so strong and he can do anything.
Right.
Somebody he a young black man. We watch TV. Well, somebody pull a gun on him. What you gonna do? You know, I know to give everything up. He may try to fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
What's his
Have
thing?
you had those conversations with him? Do he understand those type? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a police officer, and I had moments where, like I had a situation. I didn't want to cut you off from the story, but I had a situation where a guy had a diabetic episode. Okay, and due to my my patience and and just the way I do my job, I don't overly be aggressive, but this guy ran his car into a pole, and he had continuously, his foot was on a pedal. He couldn't comprehend what was going on because he was in that diabetic shock. And any other officer probably would have went off, beat the guy and everything. Yeah. I didn't do that. I pulled him, I snatched him at the car, took him, set him down on the concrete, and lo and behold, like I said, at that point I had to put him in handcuffs, but I did it the right way where at the end of the day, he didn't get hurt and nobody got hurt. And lo and behold, find out he was a diabetic. Right. And they got there, he was good. So in that situation, have you had conversations with him, or is there any way that, and that's the hard thing about it, with not, like you said, there's no stamp to say, hey, I'm autistic.
I got something. Yeah.
And I know that's tough situation.
Well, the conversations as far as defending yourself, yes, because he actually was in martial arts as well.
Oh man, he's bad, man.
Yeah, he do a lot.
He swim and he
does a lot. I keep him busy again because I'm advocating to sports. But his sports is different from mine. Like you said, how many young black men swim? You know what I mean? So even my friends at work give me some of that, some slack about that. But as far as dealing with police officers, no, I have not, because he knows some things, but I always remember, like, well, what does he fully comprehend?
Right.
I always tell my wife, I feel like, so he's 18. I always tell her, I feel like he's 2 or 3 years behind. Right. That's what I feel.
Right.
So I feel like he has the mentality now of a 16, 17-year-old. You know what I mean? Now he's the sex talk is coming.
Oh,
you know what I mean? He's into that. So it's just,
how does that pop up?
So April Fool's Day, he initiates it.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope.
I was shy on it. April Fool's Day this year.
Yeah.
So again, he got his own suite. So when I come in from work. Yeah. I come downstairs, check on him, because he gets his cell phone and off to school.
Right.
He's pretty self-efficient. I come home, I go in this room, like, he's faking sleep, but he never not have a shirt on. But today he had no shirt.
Oh man.
And he got the cover like at his waist low, but he got the I swear, right hand of God. He got a pillow, something black that looked like hair, like the pillow over her. I snatch it. Like, man, stop putting April Fool's Day. I got you. I'll tell my wife, she's like, you lucky it wasn't no little girl there.
Right.
Because I didn't snatch the cover over. I'm like, and that's a whole nother thing. So it's like, man. So he's obviously thinking about sex, right?
Right.
And shit, 17, 18.
Who's not?
I had a
Right.
kid at 20.
Who's not? Right. Who's
So,
not? Yeah, exactly. So
now that's different too.
Yeah.
That's his doctor telling me about that, to teach him about protection and things like that.
That's what's up, man. That's fun.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind tapping, I know that there's different like levels or spectrum. What spectrum or level of autism is your son on? Because obviously you said, you kind of said it, but is there like a specific like level, like, you know what I'm saying? Like level 1, 2, 3, anything like that?
So he has PDD. He has persuasive development disorder. So
Okay.
it's on the spectrum as well.
Right.
He also has ADHD.
Okay.
So he takes a daily medication, not Ritalin, it's Adderall. You
Okay.
may hear some students take it, some athletes take it.
Right.
Once, because that was another thing too, being, like, oh, we always hear that stigma of Ritalin.
Especially, it's putting kids on medication.
like, oh,
and it's always us for some reason.
we don't, blacks, we don't trust the medical field.
Right.
I mean, this would be a whole nother podcast. We could talk about our women.
Right.
How, our women are mistreated and things like that with the medical field. So, so first thing I'm like, oh no, because you always hear the stories, Ritalin like kind of zone your kid out.
Yeah.
So I didn't definitely want him on Ritalin, and his doctor, I had to trust his doctor. She's been his doctor forever.
That's what's up.
So she's like, well, let's try this Adderall, and then it just improved his grades. Like I said, he's been getting dang near straight A's all the way
maybe
throughout.
I needed to take some back then.
College students take it, and that's another thing we got. So now offers are going in.
Yeah.
For college, I don't know if they know what he got going on. So I know he can't go far. You know. So that's our next step. Now, do you want to go to college? Like, what college look like for him?
Right.
I can probably easily give him a job with my job at Lincoln.
Okay.
But
what do you do?
I work at Lincoln Electric.
So what? Yeah, I'm go ahead finish that then, because I'm like, I've been here about 2 years and I still don't know what goes on over there.
All right, yeah, I got YouTubes on Lincoln Electric. So yeah, this is my first podcast, but I got some YouTubes with Lincoln.
Okay.
So I'll finish him. So yeah, I don't necessarily want him to work because the income is not needed.
Right.
I'm really more concerned with this social aspect of it.
Right.
Just him meeting friends, meeting, just the social aspect of everything. So if that's work or if that's school, whatever that looks like, I don't want him just going to the job field. I know I'm not comfortable with him leaving, going far, so that's out. Kent State is a little too far. Right. They have an excellent special needs program at Kent State, but that's just a little too far. So, but my mom my mom moved to South Carolina. She's like, I'll move back and just stay. I'll move back and just stay at a apartment by him. So she retired and they built the house down there, but she wanted to come back so he can go to Kent State. I'm like, no, that's out. So we looking at that. But so I've been at Lincoln 17 years.
That's what's up.
I've been there a long time. And what Lincoln do, they're the world leader in welding products, actually.
Oh, okay.
So that was my trade. My trade was a welder. Shout out to one of my friends, Chris. It was his decision for us to go to weld school. So I kind of followed his lead with that.
Right.
And went to weld school, and that kind of like just opened my career up. So what I do now, currently, I onboard all the new employees.
Oh, okay.
So every employee that steps foot into Lincoln that's going into production, you're gonna meet me upon arrival.
Okay.
And I just
boss man.
that's what everybody, but I'm not.
You say not.
Nah, I'm a peer. And the joy I get from that is I see young men that come from, hopefully some guys coming off the streets, trying to get their life together. Some guys coming out of school, so I get to start them on a career path.
I got you. That's what's up.
So yeah, I get some enjoyment out of that.
That's what's up. So what expectations do you have for yourself as a father? Raising that, as you continue, because you've been raising him since birth all the way up until now, there's gonna be a sense of you're gonna have to continue. And I said it on one of my last podcasts. I said that no matter how old we get or how old our children get, we're gonna always be parenting and gonna be there coaching them, pushing them, doing whatever we need to do to continue for them to be successful in life and be the best individual that they can. So what expectations do you have for yourself as you continue to raise your son into this world that we live in?
That's a great question. Thinking about it, so my expectations is not to get satisfied or not to let him, I felt my mom was so big in his life. My mom was huge. I don't know where he would be without her. And her retiring and ultimately moving to South Carolina was a big transition for all of us.
Right. It kind of like, dang, it took the
took
the air out the balloon.
Yeah. It's funny because, she did that thinking he's gonna go with her. You know what I mean? And I don't know what I would have done if he would have made that choice to go with her. I would like to say I wouldn't let him go, but it's still my mom.
Right.
And they like this. They think it's these, and me and my mom are close as well.
Right.
So,
that's what's up.
but ultimately, he's like, he wanted to stay. So I was talking to one of my other buddies, and he was like, man, just got to pat yourself on the back because my life now revolves around him. Every day we got practice. He got his own refrigerator, so we stocking his refrigerator up, making sure, everything kind of with me and my wife, it revolves around him. So I thank her that she does, like, we haven't went on a vacation, just me and her, because I'm traveling all over the world for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you're making a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah, we make a lot of sacrifices. So, and I had to, sit back and pat myself on the back, like, working at Lincoln, you get that stigmatism that, you too busy. Because I used to pay child support, even though he stayed with me. So that's a whole other thing.
Whoa, yeah. I was tapping to that. How did that happen?
Well, me and his mom, we're in a better place today.
That's what's up.
So we are in a better place today. But so originally, before he would stay with my mom, he would be, he'd be my mom, between my mom, his mom, and my house. I moved out of my mom's house pretty early because I worked at Lincoln. I was making good money.
Right.
Stay there. I was just paying child support. It wasn't $300 a month, so it wasn't crazy. I've seen crazier ones, especially I've seen crazy ones.
Yeah.
So $300 a month, but it was like I'm paying $300 a month. And he with me, so we finally got that fixed. Probably 2014, 15, 16.
So it took a minute for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, one of the things me and her wasn't in a good space. I mean, we're not in the greatest of spaces, but we're in a cool. I mean, it's no more animosity. But I just felt like I'm giving you money for no reason. But I was okay because I was able to keep him. And one thing us Black fathers do is that we don't go downtown. One thing we don't understand is that if you have a child of wedlock, as a father in Ohio, you don't have any parental rights. You know what I mean? So you have to go downtown and get parental rights if you have a child of wedlock.
But unless there's some sense, if you're married,
out of wedlock,
go ahead.
If it's out of wedlock, you're not married. Yeah, you don't have those rights.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to go through that. And a lot of guys, myself, I'm like, man, I got him. She, we beef, whatever. But he in arms reach of me, I can get him. So I'm not going downtown to get that because I don't want to pay the child support.
Right. Exactly.
It's always still like the guys who got a pretty decent job on the ones on child support.
We always get the bad end of the stick.
We always get the bad. That's another conversation. You have to invite me back.
Yeah,
that's another one.
Man,
I was just paying child support. Got off of the child support. Again, like I said, almost about 10 years ago. Once he was about 10 or 9 or somewhere around there, and that was that. But
how's his relationship with his mom, if you don't mind me asking? If there's any type of relationship?
It is. Okay. It is. It's probably not as great as it should be, but that's my opinion too.
Right.
He loves his mom.
That's what's up.
So we in this space now that prom coming up, graduation's coming up.
Right.
So he has his own phone. So he talked to her, and he has a little sister he loves to death. So the conversation, again, I gotta put my wife in it. Sometimes women can be petty. Women things. I don't know that feeling because she doesn't have somebody that she has to deal with.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate her. She'll let her come to our house. She gonna let her come for prom.
Okay.
When I say let her, she's not gonna give me no slack. I don't have to deal with it later.
I got you. I do
appreciate it because I know how women are. You know how that can go.
Yeah.
So she doesn't give me too much slack. But I had to explain to her though one time, and she pretty much got it a long time ago. One of the things I told her is, anybody that you ever dealt with,
Right.
you done with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because she used to ask me like, well, why don't you like her? I'm like, well, here, just put yourself in this. Anybody you ever dealt with, male, you done with them. Imagine having to deal with somebody that you don't like, but you got to deal with them because you got a child with them.
Exactly.
You're gonna have an attitude as soon as you see that person.
Mm-hmm.
If you're me, so
Yeah.
that's where the attitude come from. But you know, we're in a good space. We're in a better place now. That I don't. We're in a better place. I'll say that.
That's what's up, man. So I have another question. It's a 2-part question. And I think you kind of already touched base on it, but I want to ask, what expectations do you have for your son, and how important is it to you? Which, like I said, I think you already pretty much touched on it. How much important is it to you to continue to let him be as normal, or be that kid that's going into, basically he's a young adult now? Like, how important is that to you to continue to push that?
My expectations of him is I just don't want him to limit himself.
Gotcha.
You know, it's funny you say that because we now the conversations is, you know, you get that 16, you got 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
They think they could do everything. They
Yeah.
think they're invisible. So one of the conversations that happens between me, my wife, and my mom is, we had to sit back, like, have anybody ever told him that he's autistic? Does he know?
Wow.
Is that like, do you know, like, does he know that he got limitations? Because I don't, to my understanding, I mean, he communicates well to the point that I don't see anybody bully him, you know.
Yeah.
I try to keep him dressed nice. Because in our community, unfortunately,
oh my gosh, I'm glad you said that.
Unfortunately, in our community, sometimes you get judged by the way you dress.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, that's just the black community, which
Yeah,
means nothing.
Yeah,
but that's just how we were raised, you know. So I try to, you know.
I noticed that. I see the pictures on Instagram. I said, this boy fly, man.
Yeah, so I try to keep him. I try to keep him dressed, nice haircut. You
That's
know,
what's up.
I try to, because again, that's what you look at in our community, unfortunately. So I don't know if he understood, because he like, oh, I'll be like, hey, let me help you. I got it. You know, let me earn this. No, I got it. You sure? I got it. So that's his thing now. I got it. I'm 18 now. I got it.
Right.
And I'm like, man, do this little dude know that he
has some limitations.
He gonna always need those help. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, even his teachers be like, "Well, you were always around." I'm like, I mean, first of all, I only got one, so I don't got to chase multiple kids. So I'm like, you know, I'm gonna be there because I just want to make sure he okay.
Exactly.
You know, so
yeah, okay.
And then what was your second part of your question?
The second part was how important is it to you as a father to continue to allow him basically to be as normal, or be that kid that you want him to be? You know, like I said, he's a young adult now in this world we live in. How important is that to you?
Very important. That's it. That's my next step. So my next step is to prepare him for young adulthood.
Right.
Again, trying to let him make as many decisions that he can. Versus you going to school, because he gonna have to do something. I'm not gonna let him sit in the house while I'm at work and then my wife at work.
Right.
So that's gonna look different. You know, when you in high, you know, because I remember most young men that I still talk to, I went through that for a minute. Like my first year out of high school, I graduated at 16.
Oh, wow.
So like, dang, do you wanna, what you gonna do now? You know, you can't stay at home, because once you stay at home being an officer, that's when you get into trouble.
Right.
You get into trouble when you got too much downtime.
Definitely.
So just making sure that we have a plan going into the fall. You know, enjoy this summer, celebrate this summer, and then come fall, we had that plan, and that plan started 2 months ago.
Okay.
But make sure we finalize those plans and just get him ready for what life like an adult gonna look like.
I got you. Now, I don't know if he has those or anything like that, because like I said, I don't even know so much about autism. Does he have like any triggers, like something that may set him off to like upset him or anything like that?
No, he never. So again, he never really had those outbursts.
Okay.
And that could be the Adderall.
Okay.
He never really had those outbursts. Again, if he was here, he'll be chilling watching the game. Yeah,
that's
he
what's up.
never really had that outburst. I think at one point he didn't like loud music a lot. But he's grown for that. Like again, so and just being as transparent. So one thing I noticed, and if you read up on it or anybody watching this podcast, read up on it. What he used to do, he used to walk on his tippy toes as a kid.
I seen something like I did some research and seen some videos of that.
That is a cue of autism. So another thing, so a lot of it is feel for them as well. So what I used to notice, so he swims, right?
Okay.
And we had a swim meet last night. So what he used to do when he used to swim, and I'm not a swimmer. I mean, I know how to swim, but I'm not a competitive swimmer. But I used to see the other kids, which I mean, I'm like, okay, cool, sanitary reasons.
Yeah.
But I used to see the other kids where they just run without their flops on, their pool slides.
Yeah.
Right?
Like yeah.
But he could not move out the water without his slides.
Okay.
But yesterday, well, it's been started. But yesterday, I looked at it yesterday. He doesn't wear slides anymore.
Ah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I was cool with it because sanitary reasons.
Yeah.
Put the slides on, but he doesn't wear his flip flops all the time. So
that's what's
again,
up.
I think I don't know autism. Not a doctor, but I have read research, and you can get less. You know, with therapies and all those things.
So them things that he struggled with at the beginning, he was gradually declining. Basically, as
he never had an issue with like tying his shoes, or he never peed in a bed.
Well, I had some Mr. Peabody's.
He's never peed in a bed, never. Wow. So he even his therapist say and it's harder though. That makes it harder for him because he's in that middle. Yeah, you know what I mean. That actually makes it harder because it's like. You got something, but what is it?
Exactly.
And are you going, so those social cues, he don't understand social cues. That's his biggest thing. I don't know if he understands social cues. Like he won't keep a conversation with you.
It'd be short and sweet.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So it was a post or a statement that you had on one of your on Instagram that I looked at. I was like I said, I did a little research.
Okay.
And, to get to try to know who you are before we got this opportunity to sit down and chop it up. And I wanna understand the significance or what this particular statement that you posted mean to you. I'm gonna read it real quick.
Okay.
So what it states is autistic kids aren't just special needs kids. They're kids that leave a special mark in your life. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. I actually so again, it starts from first finding the diagnosis. You know, you hurt, you in disbelief, you embarrassed. You have all those different things that's going on. And then as you become a man or a woman, you just be like, okay, this is where we at. Once you start seeing that box that's unlocked, like, oh, we figured this out. Oh, we figured that out.
Right.
It's just a blessing. I mean, even his so again, he swims with regular kids.
Right.
So even his coach wrote him a lovely letter, just kind of saying the same thing. Like, I didn't know how this relationship was gonna work.
Right.
And you ultimately taught me a lot of things.
Exactly.
Because you just watching them grow. It's like watching, you watch your babies grow.
Yeah.
But now you watching a 8-year-old grow or a 10-year-old grow. Not just grow physically in stature, but you watching them grow mentally. Just start to figure things out. Like, oh, you wasn't thinking about that 4 months ago. You know what I mean? So it is just, it's just fulfilling to see that happen right in front of your eyes.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. So I like to close out each episode. I always ask the guests if there's any advice or anything you would like to leave the people that's tuning in, that's listening, that's following, any words of advice or anything educational wise that can help them work on something that they may be dealing with, especially with this being Autism, Awareness Month. Like what advice you can give them in reference to dealing with a child that has autism?
First thing I would say, don't be embarrassed. And maybe you won't. I can just speak for myself. And start getting your child help. The earlier you come to grips with it, if you know something different with your child, the earlier you come to grips, the better chance you get them at life. That's all. That's all we want as a parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want too much else. Just to get them the best chance at life. So if you don't delay. If something's going on, if they acting out, If they just throwing too many temper tantrums, more than normal, you see it. You've been around kids your whole life. If it's a brother, sister, or your other kids, so and just get them checked out, and roll with it with that. It's because they're normal kids. They're gonna fill your heart with love and joy, and you'll be fine. So I think that's what I would tell them. I think that's what I would say. If take anything from anything we said
today,
just get them in there and get them help.
Again, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast, for blessing us with your presence, and like I said, taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on here, chop it up with us here on Parental Unplugged podcast. And there's a little saying that I always like to leave with when closing out my podcast, and it starts off by, I'm a father navigating through this world of parenting with one podcast episode at a time. And I thank you. Appreciate it, brother.
I want to give my boy Johnny a shout out. Just found out about his son, Johnny Strong.
Yeah.
Appreciate you for having me.
Thank you.
Father's important, blesses his children. I'm speaking the truth, I'm speaking to you. I pray we evolve, I pray we don't fall. I pray we don't fall, I pray we don't fall. Parental Unplugged. Yeah. Fatherless children, they roam in the street. Abandonment issue, know some of us law. Parental Unplugged. Yeah. Gotta evolve, gotta stay active, gotta be active. Parental Unplugged.